Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to Alien Addict on this fine, luxurious evening. And it is a luxurious evening because we have none other than GUFON in the house, the man that they call the Iron Stallion of ufology. I think that's what they call him anyway.
The Italian Stallion.
I thought it was the Iron Stallion.
Never heard of that, but that sounds Russian to me.
Yeah, friend. But Russia, UFOs, and we have Area 503 in the house.
Manny!
I wanted you to do it. You bet me to it, Rich.
Sorry, I keep forgetting it's not my show.
Welcome, Manny.
Hello. Good to be here. Good to see you guys and everyone in the chat. Yes,
it is good to see two very, very beautiful faces on Alien Addict tonight. Manny, is that the bat sign behind you?
Yeah, I gave up my secret identity. I just keep trying to hide it, but everybody got it. So yeah, I'm the Batman. I'm sorry. You all know you're the first to hear it officially, but yeah, it's the Batman symbol.
I knew it.
Just speaking about it before the show, and speaking of welcome to the show, I want to thank Welcome to the Show. Welcome to the show. Thank you for the super chats before the show had even started. It always just, it's strange what's the word? I can't say it. Generosity of these people, you know. Before the show even starts, what a beautiful man. But it's an odd one, is ufology at the moment, boys, and there seems to be. I think we did a show, Rich, where we were talking about there seems to be a lot of different sides, but I think if anything, it all boils down to just two. You're either far left or you're either far right when it comes to the subject matter.
You're either right or far left,
or you're
not far right.
Or you are in the middle.
Wait, I'm sorry. I said I wasn't going to interrupt.
No. All I was going to say is, or you are in the middle, and you're watching shows on YouTube or other platforms, or doing a little research on the internet, looking for evidence of aliens, and you know who's going to give disclosure? Demi Tomato. What's her name? Demi
Tomato.
No, I like that. Demi Tomato.
Demi Tomato. Yeah. That's the best name ever.
She's good. She's going to destroy my channel because my channel will get destroyed because of her, because
Why?
it has because it's got the word alien in it. She doesn't like it.
Oh, it's racist to say alien. Yeah, that's right. The aliens don't like it. So stupid. If aliens are so far advanced, they wouldn't care about that.
Yeah, I don't think they really would care about, an adjective. Do you care what, someone on the other side of the world who has no influence on your, world or reality? Do you care what they think or say about you? I mean, I don't. It just doesn't affect me. Even, people online and stuff, it's like, you can think what you want. 7 billion people on the planet, or 8 now. So that's a lot of opinions.
Do you think it's just because of the times that we live in that it's just going with the trends of today? It's something very weird going on in the world. I've smelt it for a long time, and I've just thought, you know what? There's so many. I know people call them snowflakes, but I just want to call them just strange people that just give a shit about nonsense. Let's change some words. Let's do this. Let's do that, because we need to change everything. We need to forget history and have a new start to life, because everybody else is either racist, prejudiced, or just a bastard. you know
what it is.
See, Manny didn't like that. That offended him.
He didn't like because he's far left woke. No,
we need to be we need to be careful though, Rich. We need to be careful what we say.
Yeah, I give the same carefulness here as I would on my own podcast.
I know, darling.
You don't need to remind me. I'm a professional. God, I can't stand when people keep reminding me. Why? I'm joking now. You know, I'm just giving you a hard time. You know what it is, and it's the people who have never been heard. It's just such a small little community of people. They want to be heard. Nobody's ever listened to them their whole lives. Now they have social media and they're taking advantage of it. And we're taking down statues and burning flags because of a few little people. And that has shifted into ufology. Those people are the same exact people that are saying what is real and what isn't. And that scares me.
I kind of understand it. I mean, I don't want to get into that because I definitely don't want to get into it on YouTube, the whole statue thing. But I know what you're talking about.
Well, we're not. That's it.
No, but I know what you're talking about because I had the same discussion with my dad, and I think, you know, rightly so. Some of these people were extremely horrible people that did terrible things. But if we forget everything that we did in history, how do we ever learn? You know, because something might happen in life down the line where we have to remember the horrible things that human beings did to one another. And, you know, if aliens do visit the planet one day, if they are aliens and they're not demons, then I think if anything, we would definitely need to remember, if it was in 100 years and they came here and we'd forgotten all the mess that we'd caused back in the day when people you know, took over countries and people enslaved other people and just did horrible things to other human beings. If we forget about all of that, saying 100, 200 years, because we've got rid of all the evidence, and an actual extraterrestrial beings, an extraterrestrial race just visit Earth, maybe, you know, some of those prejudices may come back.
What these people are doing, though, is not understanding or learning about real history. And they're making it up as they go along. And a lot of those things, you know, if I go back into slavery days, that was already here before we came here. You know, we light-skinned people. It was already here. It just took a decade or two till Abraham Lincoln got around for us to finally get people on our side to abolish slavery. And that's what they forget. They think white man brought it over here. It's not true. It was already here. And that's what they're doing to ufology. They're making up crap to fill in the void that they can't figure out what's going on. And they're completely lying to people. And that is what I am going to remember 100 years from now, is how they lied. And I'm talking about citizens, not the government. Because what if the government is trying to, you know, bring it forward and they're doing it right, but we're saying it's wrong? I mean, I could be wrong. Because we don't really know. Right, Manny? We don't know what's really going on, or do we?
And we all have our opinions based on our perspectives and the information that we have at the time, you know. But, you know, on the topic of, you know, the statues and revisionist history, I've never been a big one for revisionist history. I like truth. I like honesty, because we're all human beings and we all can understand truth and honesty. But when people try to idolize or put other people above you know, a human level, then you lose sight of that. And in history, that's what they try to do a lot with people. You know, like, I'm sure Abraham Lincoln was a great guy, but I'm sure he probably had a couple of faults too. You know, I've heard the same thing about Albert Einstein. He was a hell of a smart man, but if you were to walk into his, you know, his office while he was working on an equation and say, "Hey, what's up, dude?" and not wait for him to address you, he'd rip you apart. You know, because he didn't want to be distracted. He was focused on something, you know. And so not everybody's perfect, you know, but when we keep an eye on our history, then we can learn the lessons that we won't lose the lessons that were lost.
He's gone again.
Yeah.
What seems to be going on now, Rich, reminds me of, and I want to say thank you to David again. David,
what is that?
That is David Lopez. It's not Lopez. I'm thinking of who's Big Trouble in Little China. What's the guy's name?
Kurt Russell?
No, I'm thinking David. David's in the chat anyway. I'll tell me Lopang. Okay. But this is They Live.
Oh, you know it is. Oh, dude,
I got it sent.
What?
I didn't open it.
That's the best.
It is the best.
Oh my God! First time I think I've ever been jealous of another man. That is awesome. I love that.
It is, but this reminds me of what is going on right now. If the aliens are almost, if it is aliens, Rich, that, you know, all the things that are going on, the things that we buy, the things that we see, they could narrate this, you know? And maybe just some people don't have the glasses on.
Well, it has been said, you know, rumor, you know, and I don't want to get into the Illuminati or anything like that, but there was that one guy. Who's the one guy that was a soccer player and then he turned journalist? The guy with the white
David
hair.
Icke. David
Yeah.
Icke.
Well, he was talking about how the aliens are actually controlling everything, running the show. And I don't know if it's
He
an
said
impossible
that for a long
thing.
time.
Yeah, I know.
He said that for a long time. He said it's all, what do you call it? The queen? He said that my queen is a lizard.
Yeah, I don't know, but she might
looks
be.
She looks like my ex-grandma. You know, not ex-grandma, my ex-grandma. So it's like, I used to date my grandma.
Oh, man.
David Lopan. David Lopan. Jesus Christ. Thank you, David, for that. And thank you. Welcome to the show for another super chat. You sexy man. Thank you, Lee. Yeah, it's David Icke though. Do you buy into the whole lizard thing? Have you ever been a lizard fan?
No, I thought it was too hokey.
I think Manny's back. There you go. He's back.
He says he has to keep his speeches short, or it kicks him off. Now he's frozen Friday again.
Manny, you might want to restart that computer, then kiss it 3 times.
You know about the kissing? Yeah, I do that too.
You've got to caress it.
You got
David.
Yeah.
David Icke though, I'm gonna stay on that for a second because he spoke a lot of nonsense. But if you look back at some of the things that he said now, that he was saying back in the 80s, some of it smells. You can smell the truth in it, you know.
It almost smells right. Yeah, I don't know, man, but I think I'm gonna have to start digging into that because, well, I don't know. It's a dangerous topic to talk about, but
you could interview him. You'd probably get your channel shut down.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't have him near me.
I would.
No.
You know me. I'm a right little whore for it.
Yeah, no, it's too risky. He's been banned from YouTube, right? No, or has he? Anyway, but it doesn't seem too far-fetched because of the things that we're going through in the last couple of years. See, I was thinking about this whole thing that's happened the last couple of years, and they're trying to mandate that we get this, you know, prick in our arm, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, we'll be careful with that one.
Is it because the aliens are going to be coming? And the ones that are here now, it's just maybe 100 of them, you know, but maybe there's something on the way. Why are we trying to leave this planet? I've said that last night on my show. What's the big rush? We've got the planet to stay on. There's no way we're going interstellar. Even light speed would take too long to go anywhere. It doesn't make sense. I understand, yeah, we're explorers and all that, and maybe we'll find, an ancient civilization on Mars or the moon. But a lot of people died just for that, and it's just really, I don't know, man. Did they see the aliens on the moon? Remember, they went to the medical channel, and that was supposedly intercepted. They're here, and they're on the mountain ridge, or whatever they said. It's very weird.
I watched that show today of yours. It was a great show. Jackie, thank you very much for the £5 super chat, my love. Love to you and your family. Thank you very much. But with the space race, Rich, and them wanting to get out there, my thing with that, it's going to take years. It's going to take years and years and years.
Decades.
And if anything, it's going to be Elon's robots that'll be the first thing to land on a planet. You know, they'll be the first things to go out there. Then there'll be so many trips because it's going to take so long to even make that place even remotely
livable.
Livable, yeah. Took the words right out of my mouth. I don't see why. I do see why we're so intrigued to visit and go out and venture into space. Elon says we've got to, because at some point this planet is going to be dead.
Why? Why don't we just put all the trillions of dollars into the planet?
Because that's what we're supposed to believe. That we have to leave here because at some point you've seen the whole I mean, I've always recycled, you know. I hate it when somebody chucks something out the window.
Oh yeah.
Or somebody litters in the street. Can't stand it. I once got fined for putting a cigarette out on the floor, and I was going to pick it up when I used to smoke. I got fined £50.
Wow.
But I actually said to the guy, you know what, I appreciate the £50 fine, you know, but I was going to put it in the bin. I just wasn't going to put it in the bin lit because it would have set the bin on fire. You stupid bastard that has just fined me £50.
There's no law that says you have to put it out.
I think Manny thought I'd call him a stupid bastard.
Oh no! Again, he's so sensitive. He's the least sensitive guy. So you were saying that, okay, so you put your cigarette out, you got a £50 fine.
No, I'm just saying that I believe in the recycling. You know, this whole thing about all of a sudden it's really ramped up over the last few years, though, that the planet is, you know, it's just destroying itself. So we need to leave. There's too many of us, Rich. We need to leave. But the aliens are coming, you know, because Demi Tomato, sorry, says that it's happened to her, and then there'll be a Demi Tomato.
Oh yeah, Demi Tomato, yeah.
Oh, is she an experiencer? I didn't know that.
She is an experiencer.
Not only is she an experiencer, she thinks that her eggs have been taken now.
Okay. Well.
What type of eggs?
Sunnyside.
Oh.
Probably Benedict. Now, I don't know. I can't remember. I have to go back and watch it. I don't want to. But she talked to somebody who was an experiencer, and this experiencer said she had like a dozen kids or something, hybrids, 24 or something like that. But there were scars on her lady parts that proved that these were, I guess, like abortions, that they were taken out after a certain amount of time. And Demi Tomato said she has those same scars. So she must have had her eggs taken or something like that. I don't know. It's on episode 1 of her new show, which is absolutely awful.
I haven't watched it.
I'm
kind of curious. Did the story come out when she started her show, or is this a story that she's been telling to people, you know, from day one?
I don't know about that, but I know she talked about it on her show. So if you watch episode 1, you can get a little insight to what happened near the middle, so somewhat in the middle end, yeah.
Fred, thank you so much for the $15 super chat. I'm not sure what is that $15 or 15? I don't know what that is. What's that sign? 15.
Isn't that rubles?
Rubles. Thank you for the rubles.
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Ruble noodles. I don't care what it is. It's there. But I don't. Please share. Please share it. Please share it to 3. I like you all. Greetings from Germany. I've always wanted to go to Germany. I'm not sure what that means, but
he wants all 3 of us to get a part of that. $5 each.
Oh, right, I got you, Rich. I'll send you. Whatever that is, guys. We'll split it. I won't.
Yeah, it could be it could be $1,000 for all we know.
I don't know what the colors mean. You know what the colors mean?
Colors?
Yeah, the colors. There's yellows, there's reds, there's
Oh yeah, the red. This type of red is 99 cents. Blue is under $5. Green is $5. Yeah, that's probably $10 because it's yellow. $20 is orange, and anything 50 and above is a maroon.
well, I don't care. Whatever you want to donate.
So that's
If you,
probably 10.
if you donate, thank you very much. And even if you can't donate, just hit them thumbs, people, and be nice to one another in the chat. That's good enough for me. Yes, it's always hard, Rich, when you do a show and people then they contribute to the show and they speak to the guests, because it knocks me for six. But at the same time, I want to say thank you to the people in the chat. So I do apologize for that, but thank you for people in the chat. It's just nonsense. It just seems like there's going to be another celebrity next, and then there'll be another one, and that's it's going to take over now. It's going to be the celebs that are going to be the ones that are going to give us the ufology, the ufology, the disclosure that we've also been begging for years and years and years, and we've earned it. But you know what? We're going to get it from the celebs. How does that make you feel,
Manny?
I'm not sure that it is going to come from the celebrities. I think in all of these fields, I think whenever there's a flavor of the week topic, celebrities are going to jump on it for their own devices or whatever. But we all follow ufology in different ways and look at it. I try to look at more of the government releases, that the dry DOD stuff, and look at that. But I think it's probably going to be coming from the private sector, though. I think it's going to be people like the alien scientists who prove this science works and release it to the public so that there's no reason to disclose it. My only drawback or my hesitation with that form of disclosure is that we'll never get the truth about what happened for the last 80 years. They'll just go on and write a new page of history and say, well, it's kind of moot now because all the technology is released. We'll never get the full disclosure if that happens. We'll get the TTSA, Tom DeLonge, Lou Elizondo defense industry version of it, where they just get to close the book on the lie and start to export the technology to everyone for profit.
I don't know, though. I honestly think if you look at everybody in the world, the people who are into ufology, the people who are interested in the subject, will probably look at elsewhere for their disclosure. But a disclosure would only work to my wife, if it was somebody that was releasing it, that maybe do a documentary on Britney Spears. If Britney Spears released disclosure to the world, my wife would be in, because she's been hooked on that TV series.
Right.
So the majority of human beings are only interested in the mainstream and all the nonsense that's going on in the world, when it comes to who's the Tiger King, or whatever's on Netflix, or these new celebrities that just pop up. That's what's going to give that'll be the disclosure that we'll get. Unfortunately,
the general public doesn't do the work, the research, so they wait for it to be given to them when they're at home eating dinner, watching TV, or in the morning, with the kids and watching TV or whatever. TV's on in the background. That's it. And guess what? When I was in, you saw the video maybe where we were in Santa Monica asking people if they knew what a UAP was. Nobody knew. One guy knew, but it took forever to get the right response. So nobody really knows what's going on. The thing that they were concerned with was, are we going to be attacked by aliens? That's what they took out of what Lou Elizondo said for 2 years. Are we being attacked? There's got Jeremy Corbell with his fake videos out there saying that, the USS Russell was being swarmed by UFOs when it was just stars and planes. What a joke. So if a celebrity's going to bring disclosure, I'm all for it. I don't care. I just want it.
So the ends justify the means, right?
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. But it's frustrating, though.
What would that look like?
It would look like
Just a lot of celebrities saying, "Oh yes, there's UFO. We are being not UFOs. There is extraterrestrial craft visiting Earth. We've seen them. We'll vouch for it." You know,
it'd be hard to believe. I don't
Well,
know, man. It would be cool.
yeah, I mean, what can we expect? Is the Pentagon going to open up the books and say, for the last 80 years, here's everything that we legitimately have and that we did, and how are they going to force all the contractors who don't have to play by the same rules to do the same thing? We can't. We can't. And we all know that all that technology that they had was not designed at Area 51. It wasn't designed by the military. It was designed by these subcontractors and then sold to the military. So that's where the dope is. It's not in Area 51. It's in a Skunk Works box somewhere at Lockheed in a closet or a basement or something like that. And we'll never see it if it even still exists. It's probably been destroyed. Like, why would they keep that stuff around? It's incriminating. So that I just don't know. It seems like we can't win to win, so we might as well just go with, I don't care anymore. Just stop telling the damn lie. Rip the Band-Aid off, We'll never get the truth of what happened. All those people who, lived lives that would have been different, or that, lost lives that would have been different because of that lie, they'll never come back, and we'll never get justice for them. It's got to be water under the bridge.
If they would have ripped the Band-Aid off when TTSA was formed, or when Luis Elizondo came aboard, hi, I'm from ATIP. We've got incredible news today, David. I'm going to explain how aliens are visiting us and what we know. They could have ripped off the Band-Aid then. Imagine where we would be now. Instead, we're still in the same situation. It's all about politics. It's all about money. It's all about gas, oil, and water.
Yeah.
It really is. It's sad.
I agree with you, Rich, totally. I think they could have ripped the Band-Aid off in the 40s, though, or after the Korean War, or after the Vietnam War, or at any other time they could have done it, so they've had their chances. And, I just don't, I'm tired of waiting, man. I'm kind of, I want the full disclosure like you said. I want it. I want to know what really happened. I want the truth, and I want them to apologize to the world for lying to them for 80 years. But it's never going to happen. It ain't never going to happen. So I'll go ahead, man.
No. Finish with what you're gonna say, Manny. Then sorry, that's my bad.
Well,
I had a thought pop into my head.
If I have to accept the defense industry or the Hollywood version of it, I'll take it. Because I just don't want the lie to continue. Every day that it continues, it hurts more people. Financially and physically. So
I don't want Demi Lovato to jump in and be the one.
You say a name properly.
Oh, sorry, Demi Tomato. Tomato. I don't want it to be her. I don't think she gives any credibility to what all of us have been doing. I would think it would be some sort of joke if she was to be the one. I don't know, man. It's got to be somebody. It can't be Jim Carrey. Who could it be?
Kurt Russell, man. Why wasn't it him? He was there at the Phoenix Lights in the air in his Cessna and saw him with his own eyes and has talked about it from day one. Why wouldn't they bring him on board, if that were the case? He'd be the guy.
That's a good choice, actually.
Right? We wouldn't question his motives. We'd say, no, Kurt Russell's talked about it since it happened. He's never hidden it. He doesn't have an ulterior motive. He's just in the right place at the right time. There's other people, too. I mean, there's MC Hammer said he saw a UFO. There was a football player, who I mentioned in a video. I forget his name now, but he did the same thing. He's got 2 million, subscribers on Twitter and was like, oh, I saw a UFO, and that's great and stuff. But I was talking about how these people could be easily misled as well. These celebrities, if somebody came to them that claimed to be an insider and wanted to make a documentary, those guys could be manipulated real easily. They're not going to do the legwork and the research like you and I would to vet your source and to make sure that it's not someone who's trying to play you. They're just going to go with it, and that's how Tom DeLonge, that's how Jeremy Corbell, that's how all these celebrities got all wrapped up in that stuff. I just found an interesting video with Corbell. Actually, it was God, where was it? A convention where he was talking with Stan Friedman right before Stan had passed away. And,
the argument.
Oh my God, yeah, where Corbell just looks like an angry little brat, and Stan had just kept his cool, man. But Corbell is just Rich. I'll send you a link after the show, bro, so you can see it. If you probably have, but it is such a good video.
It's where Stanton was asking about Bob's credentials to Jeremy Corbell, and Jeremy starts they're kind of arguing back and forth. Stanton is being quite calm, but I think they're both calmish, but there is tension. There's a lot of tension in that room. It was an interesting watch, that one.
Right.
God rest his soul.
I know.
He would have been
Yeah.
a lovely guy to interview. He was you could just tell he was a lovely man. You know, you just got that feeling for him, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, I did. There didn't seem to be any nonsense to him. Just seemed like a nice chap. What I was gonna say that popped into my head is, what if it's been prepped for a long time? This, you know, I have. Oh man, is here again.
What?
We've got to. Oh, this is too
Right?
too
Manny,
much.
Manny. Oh, it's a double Manny.
Now that is creepy.
Manny, could you put your face in the exact same position of your
Yeah.
own face?
It just shows black on mine, so I don't know.
Oh,
You'll have to guide me.
okay,
Left,
okay.
right.
Don't worry about it. You don't want to make
Sorry.
that face.
Was that a bad one?
Eh,
Yeah, whatever.
there's no
I-
bad face.
I got a face
don't-
only my mom could love.
Oh.
I really don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to sound like a broken record. But I'm going to bring this up because this seems to be I've looked back and looked back and looked back, and other than people showing cave paintings of alien greys, this seems to be where it came from. And we've got the paintings of alien greys, yes, that we show. We show them on little pieces of pottery. We don't. Do we really know how old they are? I think what I'm saying here, Rich, is maybe we're being prepped for something, and we have been for a long time, and we have no control over what's happening. But maybe right now, the time is right for them to do this, whatever they're doing, whether it be a false flag. What if they are not alien at all? And I more and more these days, I do think that maybe they are not extraterrestrial. Maybe there is something about this little place that we live that is quite special. And I think it really hit home when I was watching your show. Even though you weren't saying that in so many words, you were just asking the question of why do we want to leave here so badly? What if we're wrong?
About it being aliens?
Yes.
Well, who would it be then? If it's not, are you talking about another faction of humanoids that, you know, like a split civilization that is controlling things, you know, or
I wish I knew.
An AI?
See, I think it's AI with some sort of living being in it, cyborgish. I think these are beings that are going. It's where we're heading, because we're able to replace body parts now, legs, arms, you know, heart, liver transplants, you know, and all that stuff. But you know, we're still in the early stages, believe it or not. But imagine, fast forward 100 years. And we'll be able to replace our arms and no problem at all. You'd probably prefer to have a robotic arm than your regular arm. I would think it would be easier on your heart, you know, less blood to go flowing through it. I don't know. I just think that it's heading in that direction where we're going to prolong our life to live longer. And to do it, we're going to have to replace some body parts. And eventually you're going to replace them all, I think. I don't know. But I'm just saying, if we can't get the rejuvenation drug in our body to make our skin replenish itself and our organs, stay healthy, I think that's where we're heading. And I think that's what we're seeing is something maybe thousands of years into the future with tech we don't understand. That's why Luis Elizondo says we don't even know how to study it because we don't have the technology to. I think it's that. I think that's what we're up against, and they can zip in and out of our reality. I mean, we only see this much of a spectrum, this big. Imagine what's to the left, to the right of us right now as we're speaking. It could be...
What if there's nothing?
Then it's nothing. I don't believe it. Because it really would be an awful waste of space. But
It's definitely...
I agree completely.
Yeah, It's definitely the human perspective to say, only what I
Yeah.
can see and feel is real, but we know, like Rich, what you're saying, you're talking about the light spectrum. There's massive amounts of light that we don't even see. There's radiation that we can't see. There's energies that we can't see all around us. We don't see our Wi-Fi signals. We don't see gravity, but gravity will splatter you on the pavement if you jump off a building, high enough. We don't see it. It exists. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean that it's not real. And that's that. I think that, real people who ask good questions about science and who are in the field will understand that. And they understand the more you learn, the more that you realize you don't know anything. Every time you learn something new, it opens up 10
Yeah.
new fields of questions. You know what I mean? And so I love it, though. That's why it's a never ending journey of, learning, and trying to figure things out. But we just got to keep our eyes and our minds open, as a society.
I gotta take not 5 minutes, 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries. Manny, though, what and thank you, Jennifer, again, my love, my lovely, awesome, very generous. I'm loving the question of are we alone in the universe? I always have done, but the more and more I've looked into this field, and the people that I've interviewed along my journey, the experiences I seem to be having as a 40-year-old man for now probably the past 7 years, I'm starting to become something different. And I find that so hard to explain as somebody that used to be an atheist, a complete atheist. I didn't, believe in really God, Jesus, or anything like that. I still don't. But I do think when it comes to the paranormal, the people that I've spoke to along this journey, it always seems to seep in to this subject, what people have seen, the experiences they've had. And a lot of the people that I spoke to, when they're telling these stories, I believe them. But I find it very hard to think about an extraterrestrial being and an entity, say a spirit. I can't seem to separate the science and the paranormal, if you know what I'm saying there, Manny. It's a bit of a boggle that of the mind trying to meld that in, but it seems to fit in this subject.
Yeah, I think there's a blurred line there too. Like there comes a time when the line blurs, I should say. If you're looking, let's take a hypothetical situation, and let's take an extraterrestrial being that is, let's say, formed of some kind of energy that we can't see with our naked eye. Let's just assume that one exists and it's here. All right, standing right next to you. If you were to encounter something like that, you wouldn't even know it's there, right? But we might have technology that could see that nowadays, and you might be able to understand that there is something next to you that you can't see. It's a being. There's a sci-fi movie that discusses this, where they have a pair of goggles that allow people to see into another, kind of dimension or something like that. It's a test thing, but it's the very first guy who puts it on just sees creatures everywhere, and they are, affecting people. Human beings are ruled, our bodies are run mainly on electromagnetic impulses and electricity and things like that. If you talk about how the brains and the nerves and things work, and it wouldn't be too hard to accept that, an energy could come in and mess with that, so to speak, but we wouldn't even know about it. We might be able to understand it today with our technology, but if that same thing were to happen 2,000 years ago, they would stand zero chance of understanding it because they don't have the technology that we have. They would liken it to something like demons and spirits and angels, because that's how their minds worked back then. They didn't understand that there's bigger things out there besides the planet that we sit on. They didn't even understand things like the solar system, really. Well, not everyone.
Not?
Well, not widespread. Some of them did, but it wasn't widespread and accepted knowledge. No, not until the time
You
of
look at the
telescopes.
Mayans.
Well, I understand that there are cases where that isn't exactly, 100% the facts, but and there are exceptions. But I'm talking about mainstream. The people who came up with these religions, the Mayans didn't come up with Christianity or Islam, or Catholicism. These things came up on their own, and those are the people who, kind of assimilated all these other cultures and knowledges and rolled them into their own because they were the dominant religions by war or by numbers. It's hard to say. We weren't there, but I'm just saying, mainstream science wise and what we understood as people. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't until the times of Galileo really that we started to understand things like that. And people really did think that the Earth revolved around the sun for the longest time, and that maybe we were the center of the universe or the galaxy, but we're not. We're a part of something bigger, and that's truly what I think. And when we start to explore our own solar system better, like when we get out to Enceladus, when we get out to Mars, and things like the Perseverance mission where they're looking for microbial life on Mars. Well, if we find that there was life on Mars before, millions of years ago before us or whatever, and then we also find that there's liquid water and life on a moon like Enceladus or Europa. Well, if there's life is prevalent in our solar system, why should we think that it's not prevalent everywhere, in every solar system? We have to get out there and look. And so we need to wait for the James Webb to come up if it makes it up in, next month or in December when it goes up. But science is going to teach us that stuff. We can sit around and talk about it philosophically. Yes. But science is going to dictate, is going to really cast some light on the subject and answer some questions,
Yeah,
I hear somebody cutting their nails or something in the background.
I can hear something. I thought it was my microphone.
No, it's
someone cutting their nails. I think that was the Area 503 computer.
Really?
Yeah.
It's definitely not. That's somebody cutting hair, nails, or toenails.
Oh dear.
I can't hear. Got my studio headphones on. I can hear nothing, man. There could be a nuke dropped outside my house, and I'd just be like, it's gonna be a bright day.
It's not. All right.
I know you're saying, money, but my issue, and it's probably, I think I've been it's a hard word. It's a made-up word. It's an alien. I've been descientized. That's what I have. I've been descientized because I look at some of the science, and I'm wondering what if some of the science that we're being told is not actual science?
I know. It's just made up bull crap. I don't know. We have to learn it to know it. I think alien scientists and people like him would tell us if it wasn't real. So none of that has ever come out. So the science seemingly is real. But for you or I, we don't study the science. We do, but we don't duplicate it like a Mick West or whoever. It's well, I've done it. I've done balloon tests and things like that, I guess, but as of late, not much. But it's something that needs to be done and always focused on. So I'm sad to hear that you've been descientized. And what does that mean? You just don't follow it, or you don't believe it?
I made the word up.
I know. I love it. It's the best
what does
word
that mean?
No, I don't know what it means. I'm literally.
You don't trust it.
I don't.
You can't.
Well, what don't you trust about science? I mean, like if somebody publishes a peer-reviewed paper and says, we've detected
I'll be very blunt without.
Or is it the interpretations? Because people,
I don't trust the pictures that we. I don't trust the pictures that we received. I don't trust the own pictures that we receive of our own planet.
Okay.
I don't.
So if you go to the ISS live stream and you're looking down at the planet, you think that's not real? Or
I'm not saying it's not
altered,
real.
or I mean,
I don't trust any of it. Have you ever seen some of the glitches with the astronauts? They're insane.
So many.
Mm-hmm.
They're insane. So and they don't make sense. I've talked about this before on the show. Guys in the chat, I'm not a flat earther. All I'm saying is I don't trust somebody that's got a big wavy necklace and Vidal Sassoon hair going everywhere on the ISS. I don't trust that kind of video feedback, and I don't trust it, especially when an astronaut is going across and they glitch out in the background and they disappear before they go through the frame. It's odd.
It's
And
a lot of those are video compression things, and you can see them. You can see them in any sort of a remote transmission from a remote location. And
yes, I know what video compressions look like. Yeah, okay,
but that's kind of
but somebody to fade out before they actually leave the scene is odd.
I'll do you one better. What about the guy doing this, grabbing nothing in the air and putting it on an imaginary shelf?
Maybe he's got some sort of
Tourette's. Space Tourette's.
I don't know. I mean, you can get an app on your phone for the ISS HD cams live, and you can look at that stuff anywhere in the world, 24/7. Multiple.
I was addicted. I was addicted to it.
I've watched a lot of it. I do. I sit there and I'll put it on my TV while I'm writing, and just sit there and look at the ISS and watch it, the Earth underneath, and check it out, just because it's calming to me. You know, it's. Yeah. But I like it, and I've seen a lot of. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things float by. You know, you see all kinds of different stuff up there. But it's, you know, I've never seen anything that, in my opinion, would be faked, you know, and I don't understand how they could fake the volume of footage that they have. I mean, you're talking a colossal production. Oh, yeah. A colossal production, and I know that they have the money, but how would you keep that under wraps? You know, like you can't even have a secret shoot on a Star Wars set without somebody leaking something to TMZ. Mm-hmm. You know, but and it's always possible. You know, people have been saying that for years, probably because of the Kubrick, and I believe that the original moon landing, they did have a backup B plan, that Kubrick did film a fake one just in case. They were. I've read documents, you know, that Nixon was prepared to leave those men on the moon and fire off a fake fucking landing, you know, because that's how important it was to win. Now, thankfully, they didn't have to do that. You know, they came back. But, you know, if they were prepared to do that back then, could they do it now? Sure. And there is another thing, you know, NASA does have the largest green screen in the world. The largest chroma key set in the world is on NASA property. Marvel Studios went to go film Spider-Man there so they could run their guy across the wall on a green screen, on a real green screen, and have a dolly camera follow him. But why does NASA have a green screen that's the size of, you know, a large aircraft hangar?
Makes no sense.
Why?
Makes no sense.
I don't get it either, you know.
Seriously, why would they have a green screen? To project something they want us to see. There's no other reason.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that they might want to get a satellite in there to take a picture of it for, you know, purposes or whatever. But the people doing their CGI modeling and their camera, their photography stuff, they can do all that elsewhere. They don't need a, you know, a quarter mile or whatever, however big this stinking green screen is. It's huge, you know. Yeah, it's amazing. I can't explain it, but they have it, and they've, like I said, there's a documentary out there you can watch where Marvel Studios goes to rent the damn thing to film out there. But yeah, so are they? But I watch a lot of the other stuff too. I watch ESA, I watch JAXA, I watch all of the different Roscosmos launches that they publicize. You know, and if all those people are colluding on that, like, why can't we collude to get the world in line? You know what I mean? Like, how they're going to collude to keep a secret about space, but they can't work together geopolitically to save all those defense resource money that we spend on weapons every year and spend that on the planet. You know, like that's the real thing. And space exploration's a drop in the dime compared to the defense industry, you know, and I think 1 year's worth of that money would probably do a lot of good for this Earth.
I don't understand though why you know, we don't have a base on the moon right now. Why do we not have a base? Why did we stop going to the moon? Because it was too expensive? Because apparently now we've lost the technology?
Was it political? Was the race to the moon part of the space race? You know, was that
Are we already there?
Yeah.
You know?
There's not much on the moon. You know, what's there for us? There's a little bit of water ice. They want to use electrolysis to separate.
How do you know that? Because they tell you that.
Well, they, being the scientist, I'm not taking CNN's word for this. I go and look at the real dope. You know, that's me. I go to the NASA site. I read their papers. You know, if I don't understand something, I'll go and I'll spend the night trying to understand it. And if I still don't understand it, I'll go find someone who does and have them explain it to me. Someone who I trust, like the alien scientist or, you know, some people that he affiliates with, you know, because the mainstream media definitely has got an agenda in it. And that's all that that's all that they ever push, whether it's space, politics, or Disney's latest hit. It's going to be what they tell you it is. You know, they want you to understand this. They're like, this movie's great because we say it is. This politician's great because we say it is. The cereal's great because we say it is. This planet's great because we say it is. You know, that's how they work.
Isn't NASA government funded, right? Don't we pay for NASA?
Yeah.
Right? See, this is my point. We're putting so much money into NASA when we should be using that money to fix our infrastructure and things. I just don't understand. My point is, there must be something going on to have to spend all this money that can be used for something else that could be better, equipped to fix society, more or less. Our infrastructure gets a D- rating, and that's just here in the U.S. Why are we spending this money, our money, your money, except for Ollie? Ollie, you pay taxes.
Yeah, they do the same thing there, yeah.
But it doesn't go into NASA, right? Is it a global thing that all the taxes from the globe go into NASA? No. Right?
No, that's where we fund NASA,
right.
but then NASA then partners with ESHX and other space agencies, and then they will get money from them on partner projects too. I did a lot of digging into the NASA budget when I was looking into the NEO-SM, the Near Earth Object Surveillance mission that was going out, and why it was shut down, and it was political. It was just all about politics and money, and
Really?
that's why that project got bounced around to 3 different offices before it finally found a independent budget within NASA, but planetary protection. And so they're like, okay, we'll fund it out of planetary protection because nobody can monkey with that. But yeah, there's a lot of politics with the money in NASA, just like there is at the DOD, and just like there is at the Housing and Urban Development, and just like there is at Social Services and all of the other different programs that we have. You know how they work, and NASA's no different than that. There are some job farms there. You know, people do get these contracts so that they can keep people employed from one contract to the other. That's just the reality that we live in, you know. But I think NASA's probably one of the better ones, you know, because they are publicly funded and they are held to accountability from the American public. You know, the private agencies aren't, and the private corporations definitely aren't. You know, SpaceX and Blue Origin and whoever, they can do whatever they want. You know, like they don't have to follow international treaty. All that they have to do is not get prosecuted, which means buying some politicians. You know, that's all they have to do.
You've seen the it's not really going into space, but you've seen Bezos go up the other day with Shatner. With William
I haven't
Shatner,
seen it yet.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great. Shatner's reaction when he came back down, he was beautiful.
It was fantastic watching a rocket go up and then watching him get out of the rocket. But I wanted to see the footage of William Shatner all the way up on a GoPro with somebody filming him going, oh, like that, and then where's that footage?
I've seen a couple stills of him floating around like that, like you're talking about. I don't know if they have the footage.
I've seen the stills of it. I've seen video footage of him floating about once it's up there.
Shatner's a great guy, man.
I'm a massive Star Trek fan. I love Shatner, you know.
Yeah, his personality, like for a guy who's 90, he's really cool, man. He's got a great outlook on the world, and he's just, you know, like the way he handles trolls on Twitter just amuses me, man.
Do you know what I'm saying,
Manny?
Manny, do you know what I'm saying? If they want to do it better, film the whole thing.
Ask them to. I'm sure they would. I can watch a SpaceX launch and have live feed all the way up for 2 hours straight. What do you mean they don't show it? I don't understand. That's what I'm saying. Do you want to watch a space launch with me, Ollie? I'll show it to you. They don't cut the feeds.
I've watched loads. They don't seem to. They don't show enough.
Are we not watching the same ones, man? Because SpaceX has got a dozen cameras on their rockets. I've seen the inside of a hydrogen fuel tank as it's going up, and
that's
you can see the fuel level going down.
We're talking about the people.
I'm talking, the people.
We want to. You barely, like when Bezos went up, I didn't even see him. You saw him from the outside looking through a window. And it could have been a mannequin for all I know, right?
Well, it could be.
Right, but that's what we're saying. Why don't they just wear a GoPro?
What's the likelihood? Just because something can be true doesn't mean it is. I mean, like, come on. Like, there's a probability thing there. Like, are we saying the whole thing's fake then? Because that's where it's going. I don't understand.
We're just asking questions.
So the people are fake?
That's not what we're saying. Yeah.
What about Baumgartner? What about Baumgartner who jumped out in the Red Bull
he jumped
thing
out.
from 150,000 feet up?
I put that into your intro that I made.
Was that a solid shot?
Yeah, but
okay.
not
so
the
was that
rocket.
legit?
He nearly died doing that. He lost
thing
control.
is, we're not seeing like NASA. Let's just say NASA.
Real.
All right,
I mean,
let me finish a sentence, then
Sorry,
maybe
sorry.
you can understand it. So when they shoot up the shuttle and they got 7 people in there, we don't even get to see them. I want a video. I want to see their whole ride, all the way up, all the way down. They cut out after a minute and a half, and you never see what happens. They go through that the radio part where it cuts out for however many seconds or minutes. I want to see what's going on inside. I want to see the plasma going past the windows when they go into space or back into Earth, whatever, the heat from it. We don't see that. We didn't see it with Bezos. We didn't see it with the Virgin guy, Richard Branson. We saw him sitting for, what, a few seconds, and that was it.
The footage
I want to see the footage.
It's not exciting. It's not. It's just. It's always the same.
Manny, I was just giving you a hard time. Don't take that personally.
We always get the same footage, and that's the frustration, because I love space. I love rockets and all that jazz, but I want to see more. I wanted to see William Shatner sat there, them having a camera on board and filming his expression all the way up. And
fair enough.
I think they're missing a trick there. Also, I wanted to see, when Neil Armstrong was about to step out of the spacecraft. I don't understand why Buzz didn't have maybe a camera, because I bought my dad that Apollo mission in 4K for his new television for his birthday, and it looks absolutely stunning. There's video footage of them when they're in space. They're filming each other, but then when they get to the moon, Buzz didn't film him getting out of the lunar module. It just went to the camera that was on the near the leg, the remote camera that was feeding back. And I understand why that was crappy quality, because it was a feedback. But they had great cameras on that launch. But for something that is such an amazing thing, for the first man to step on the moon, for the guy that is with him, for him to not film that on a good quality camera, just to pop his chest out, because the camera, it was on the chest, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure maybe they would have had something loose in there that they could have Buzz could have just gone, like that, just to get that moment when Neil stepped down and looked back and went, we're here, mate. We've landed safe. But it just seems a bit of a waste. Did they not think of these things? It seems like they never think of this thing, though, ever.
Well, I think in the Shatner case, they weren't expecting it to be a publicity stunt, so they didn't try to film it like that. I mean, they did make some news about it, but they weren't setting it up like a production. They weren't trying to film a movie of Shatner going up. They didn't have. It wasn't a production. I don't think. I didn't see a director there trying to tell him what to say. It seemed natural. And I don't know what kind of cameras they have on the inside of the module, but you should be able to record all that stuff anyways, even if you can't actively transmit it because you're coming down through the atmosphere. You should be able to record it and watch it later, unless it's something's interfering with the camera. So I assume that footage is out there. Maybe we'll see it.
He's one of the richest men in the world. So he for the next launch. Jeff,
you don't always see that flaring though. Like if you watch when the SpaceX boosters come down, and sometimes you'll see like one of the Dragon thrusters that's coming down, or one of the other different little boosters, and it hasn't gone up high enough to catch that upper atmosphere and to have that velocity. So it'll be up in the upper atmosphere still, and then come back down. But you don't ever see the flames that you're talking about, like in one of the movies when the space shuttle is coming down and there's flames shooting off it. I do. God, what was the shuttle? Wasn't one of the was it Discovery that broke apart on impact when it was coming down, or was that
you mean when it came into the atmosphere?
Yeah,
it had some tiles that were missing. Yeah.
So on that one you can hear radio of the event, but you'll never find video footage of that. So I don't know what's going on, what if it's that the cameras don't work during there for some reason because of like EM interference from coming down through the plasma, or if they just turn them off, or
he said
maybe it'll pop in.
What, Rich? You know what I'm saying though, don't you?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You want more?
I don't. I think they're leaving out the most important footage of all: the reaction of the people inside of the craft. Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
That's what we want to see. I can't tell you how many times people get upset. We see seconds of it. That's it. But we don't. I want to see a little camera in the corner. While they're showing us the launch, I want to see them, being shaken around or holding each other's hands or saying, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, like the Crew Dragon capsule has that footage. Like they've got that camera, and you see the astronauts will give you a thumbs up. I just watched the Chinese launch that had the same thing. They had a full camera on the inside of the cab, but you don't get to see out their windows because they have all their shields down and everything. You wouldn't see anything, And the Crew Dragon doesn't even have windows, or it's got one window, I think. But
you just gave a perfect example. We get to see them giving a thumbs up, and that's it. Then they turn it off, and we don't see the rest of them. Right?
I don't know. The Chinese one, they had it the whole way. I mean, you see the guy's clipboard float up and he grabs it and a pencil float by. Yeah, and a lot of them have I think it's SpaceX started doing this. They'll put a bobblehead or something on there so that you can tell when you hit 0G. It's just something that sits on the dash and then floats up when they hit 0G. It'll be a dog, cool. A little stuffed animal or something, that they put on their flights.
But has NASA done that? I don't think NASA has.
Mm-mm.
I can't remember ever seeing inside the shuttle or rocket when they launch people.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. If they have that footage, I don't think they've released it. I would assume they do, though. Why wouldn't you have a camera on your men so that they could look at Capcom and say, yeah, thumbs up, man? I'm sure they would.
They probably do, but not for us. Probably so they can hear the actual, if some shit's happening up here, they're probably getting scared. They don't want to portray that.
It's probably top secret because it would show technology and means or whatever. You know how that works. But what's up, Ollie? You look like you're about to pop, man.
No, I'm not going to pop. I'm
just wanted to say something.
I'm literally. I was just thinking. Then why should they? Why should NASA do that? Why should Jeff do that? Just for the conspiracy theorists, maybe for them. I mean, I've said this many times. If anything, Elon has got a sense of humor. He should launch the biggest flat earther into space.
Yes, but all right. Listen to this. Do you know how far it is to go into orbit? Right, it's 250 miles. Right, isn't that it? 200 miles or. It's actually Earth's atmosphere goes to 6,197 feet or miles. Hold on.
Some of it will extend out to the moon. The upper atmosphere does. Yeah, the very thinnest parts of the atmosphere. It's actually a lot bigger than people think. But
but where the part where it transitions into space is 6,214 miles. That's what it says here. Earth's atmosphere stretches from the surface of the planet up to as far as 6,214 miles. After that, the atmosphere blends into space. So if we're only going 250 miles up and it's 6,214 miles, you're not going to see the curvature of the Earth. I mean, that's only halfway from Phoenix to Los Angeles. That's very tiny. So when you say let's launch them into space, they're still not going to see it's circular, the whole thing, right, Ollie? Or do they get to see everything?
Well, I apparently they do see a curvature
at 250 miles. They do.
Yeah, I believe you can. You can actually, because the ISS, you can see it from there, right? And it's what 150 miles.
So I was once on the beach. I was once on the beach. And I can't remember what beach it was, but it just went from side to side. And I actually looked and thought, I'm sure I can see a tiny bit of curve there. Maybe I'm making that up, but I was positive I could see a tiny little bit.
I think you can on a flat. You see where the curvature, where the horizon meets the.
Well, I've asked my dad about that when he's at sea, and he said you can't see it.
You can't.
But he also hates flat earthers.
But that's what I'm saying. Think how big. That's why flat earthers are flat earthers. This is their biggest argument. They think that if you go up into space, you should be able to have pictures of the entire Earth, and they don't. Because it's only 200 miles up. They're not going that far up. It's how big is the Earth's radius? You know, you're going from the ground 6,000 miles. I don't know. 250 miles is nothing.
You know, they get a lot of shit, the flat earthers. I can understand the frustration.
Oh, they're stupid. No, they should.
No, but I can understand this frustration though, Rich. That's what I'm saying.
You can
understand yeah.
But there's evidence
because NASA's
round.
never a straight answer.
But there's evidence, scientific evidence, and
Yes,
you and I can
yes,
do it.
I
That proves
agree.
the Earth. So if they can't buy into some simple way of proving that the Earth is round, then they're not that bright. Even that guy, the godfather of flat Earth, Mark Sargent, I believe his name is.
Oh God, he seems like
He doesn't
the
believe
worst
in it
out
either.
of all of it. He
Yeah.
just seems like he's just making a little bit of money off it.
He is. He was laughing when they did that special with National Geographic, and they proved that the Earth, you know, had a slight tilt to it. Did you ever see that?
This is true. Third phase, you can see. Apparently, my dad has told me this. You can see the curvature when you on Concorde.
What
God,
was the altitude of the Concorde? So that's
have
amazing.
no
So then
idea.
you would definitely see it in space.
I think that was our plane, wasn't it? Concorde.
It was yours, yeah.
Yeah.
But why don't we have any pictures of the whole? Now we do, I think. But what is that China satellite that's way out there that takes pictures, live pictures of the Earth?
I have no idea what it's called.
Yeah,
I know which one you mean. I have no idea
Yeah.
what it's called.
I can't remember that. But there's now, you know, you can go online. But the flat earthers say, but it's still a digital transmission. I can't speak for some reason. I don't know what happened to me. So it's still not even live. It's still being transmitted digitally back to Earth, so it can be manipulated. And it looks fake.
There you go. You said it, Rich. You said
It looks fake.
Yep. I never said that.
And you don't
that's
see the
him.
stars on the sides.
But this is the thing. You know, if they have faked anything to do with space, and I think quite possibly they have at some point faked something when it comes to space. When it comes to UFOs, if they want to spin that, they're getting the celebrities on board, you know, and who's that going to go out to? That's not going to go out. That's not going to invest you, Rich. That's not going to invest you money, but that will invest people like my wife.
Yeah, I get it.
Maybe my next door neighbor.
General
Maybe
population.
some people I work at, that I go to work with, and they think that I have a gaming channel. You know, that's those people that will be invested in this. So that when I said this might bring disclosure, I'm not talking in a good way, because it'll be you and me and Manny that is fighting against this, and we'll be the ones that'll get demonetized. We'll be the ones that'll get shut down because it's not the way it's supposed to go.
I hear you, but you gotta have different opinions in this field to keep it legit. And
But how can you overcome opinions if your platform is tiny compared to mainstream?
When I heard Vince Neil from Motley Crue talking about a ghost sighting he had, it seemed more believable to me because he was a celebrity. I don't know what it was, but listening to these people who are risking their careers, all right, saying these things, it's interesting. It brings a nice, realistic feel to it, I think. That these people who we've known and watched for many years are now talking about it too. That's a lot to risk.
So you're saying you trust the celebrities?
I don't. I just like the entertainment value, and I think that's what... Hey, and disclosure's like pizza. There's no bad disclosure at all. So whoever brings
It's bad
it...
pizza.
Nobody turns down pizza, even if it's bad.
This is true.
I don't know. I don't know about where you live, but over here in Ma's house, forget about it. All right, so I think, I think that's it. That's it. It's an entertainment value that could bring truth that may be pushed aside and not taken so seriously, but we need to see the aliens. That's it. Got to see the live alien.
Be careful what you wish for.
I wish for it every single day, and I'm careful about it.
I don't know. I don't know if I trust those aliens.
You trust the aliens?
I don't know if I trust the aliens.
Oh, you can't. They're bastards.
I don't know
They're
what they are.
shape-shifting bastards is what they are. They abduct us against our will. I didn't ask for this. Well, not me, but people say that. You know, it could be ghosts and all those things that we don't understand. Hey, watch, I'm going to make this guy jump. Boom. Pushes over a cup in front of him. I don't know.
My fear is that maybe we're playing about with something that we have no idea what we're playing about with, and we've it's too late because we've already started it. I mean, I was thinking about Voyager the other day, and just thinking about the actual concept of that. What we did, we sent an advertisement out there in space and went, "We are here." Who knows who's picking that? Who finds that? What if it's we? I would like to say we're civil. I don't think we are civil at all, but at times we can be civil, and we're very curious about life out there in the solar system. And I would hope if we became the travelers and we traveled to a primitive planet, we wouldn't just pillage it and take everything that we could from that planet, and we wouldn't be selfish. I hope that it would be like a Star Trek moment, and we want to keep the peace, and we wouldn't want to interfere with primitive life to us. But I don't know if that would happen. I think if we found a planet that was teeming with life, and there was say there were people there that was very primitive to us, they were coming out of the Stone Age, maybe, maybe we just take them for everything we could. If our planet was a bit depleted of what we needed,
and we would just take it from them.
But we've sent Voyager out advertising where our planet is. Yeah. I don't know if that was the right decision.
No, well, that's what was the guy's name in the wheelchair said?
Stephen Hawkins.
Hawkins, yeah. He said that was a big mistake, I think. He said that's a calling card for them to come take us over and take our resources.
It's kind of like Avatar, the movie, right? Show up and take their stuff off of their planet.
Yeah.
If you look into asteroid mining, I think that's where resource collection is going to come from. We're going to be going out and getting asteroids, and hopefully there's no life on them. Like, we can leave the planets have life alone. There's enough resources out there. I really used to think that stuff like gold and diamonds were rare, but they're not. Like gold is made in fusion in the sun. Diamonds just compressed carbon. There's literally, I think it's Jupiter where diamonds will rain down because carbon is thrown up into the atmosphere and then put under pressure, so much pressure that it turns them into diamonds. Yeah. So it's not, we're rare. Life is rare. Intelligent life is even more rare. So that's the rarity in the universe. We can find water anywhere. We find water on Mars. We know it's on the moon. We know that there's comets out there floating around with a bunch of water on it. We can use that stuff if we need water in space for electrolysis for the hydrogen and oxygen, but same goes for iron, nickel, all these other metals. They're all out there. We just got to send out these little drones to go find them and harvest them. And that's like NASA did with the MOXIE experiment on Perseverance. It's designed to pull water out of the ground and see if they can make hydrogen and oxygen out of it on Mars. And that'll be done before human boots are ever on the ground. It'll all be automatic. It'll all be drones and robots, AI, all that stuff. So that's where it's going. I just don't think we need to mess with the other life forms out there. If we do find a planet, we should leave them alone. you know, especially if there's life brewing there, because it might be part of a bigger system that we're not aware of, you know. Just my
Well,
thoughts.
it's the natural progression, isn't it? You know, you don't if it's something that's just starting out or very, or even if it's showing signs of intelligent life, if you start messing with that, you're gonna alter it. I mean, if we actually did go and land on a primitive planet to us, and say that they were, I don't know, not Victorian ages, but they were before that one. What was that? You know, they had the swords, they had the candles, they
The
could make
Vikings.
Medieval times.
yeah,
Medieval.
medieval,
Mhm.
yeah. And we went to that civilization. We were, oh, look what we've got. We've got iPads. We've got this. We've got that. What would we do to that civilization?
Nothing.
It would destroy it. It would
Well, look,
destroy it.
let's take an example here on Earth, okay? Let's take cellular phones and wireless internet, okay? Our countries, developed countries, got all that stuff, and we grew up on the internet through the 90s, and we were slowly acclimated to these things like Facebook and Twitter. But a lot of the third world nations have skipped all of that, and they've gone right to having cell phones and Facebook and Twitter at the same time. As before, they were just getting landlines. You know what I mean? And they were getting connected to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So when you have an advanced civilization that meets a less one, if they're peaceful, then they'll catch the less advanced one up. Is what happens here on Earth. We catch them up. We're like, okay, you don't have to go through all the rigmarole that we learned. You guys can just come straight to the, you know, the new ages where we're at, and you skip that whole technology. But if it's not peaceful, they're not going to do that. They're just going to conquer us, like Pizarro and the you know the Maya or the Incans, and you know, like all of the conquerors of our times have done. You know, so there, it all depends on their intentions, but they're in charge. You know, the technologically superior group are the ones who dictate the rules, because might makes right. I mean, like, you can force someone to do what you want them to do if you have the power. So it might be that way. I mean, I hopefully it is peaceful contact, and so they do want to catch us up and say, hey, we'll give you the technology to make you guys, you know, where you need to be, but you need to be responsible with it. You know, maybe that's what they're waiting for us to get a little bit more globally minded and less, you know, nationally, locally minded. You know, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I feel like we'll find life before it finds us. I mean,
Microbial included? Or
yes, I think
intelligent?
it will be microbial first, but I think we will find. I think before disclosure, we will find life on probably Mars.
The odds of Mars. Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
they're going to find microbial life there in Jezero crater. They're pulling the water
100%.
samples up. It's gonna. I feel confident it is. You know.
Yeah.
But we just got to wait and see. But you got to trust the science, because that could be wrong, right? They might just be trying to lie to you and tell you there's. How do you trust that? Is what you were saying earlier. So,
Yeah.
the way to
just it.
Well, you don't take people. You don't take people's word for it. That's why in my videos I'll put links to my fucking science. I'm like, go and look at the science. Go and look at where I got my opinion and make up your own mind. You shouldn't take anybody's word. Not Tucker Carlson. Not me. Not anybody. Go read the information. It's good to get an idea to wrap your head around it, but go and look at the data. You know, and I will provide links to my work because I want people to go and make up their own minds. And you should be suspicious of people that don't, who just tell you what to think and then say, "Oof,
Money.
You know, you're on your own."
Pop them in the chat by all means. Feel free. I just think though, when it comes to proof, there is so many people that don't have trust, and there's so many people. I think it gets cloudy when people start fighting about it. So you don't work together; you just start fighting about it. So nobody ever kind of sits down and has a conversation about it. You know, I would like to sit down civilly in this chat room on a live show with a couple of flat earthers to have a civil conversation about it. You know, and Rich says this. Rich is the stupid. You know, I don't know what your opinion is of it, Manny, but I would like to have just a conversation.
They don't have the critical thinking, is what I see. I see. Yeah.
They may not. They may not.
Well, they can't.
I'd still like to have that conversation.
Every time, yeah, all right. I'm not going to get
Yeah.
into it. It's flat
No,
Earth.
get into it. Get into it, Rich. Live a little.
It's foolery.
Well, it goes into blind belief too, and like Rich says,
Yeah.
people check out of critical thinking sometimes. You know, there's been times where I think that I've proven a statement that I've made based upon evidence. Like I'll furnish a document and say it's right there. Here's the document. Read it for yourself. And people still argue, and I'm, oh well, this term means that, and I'm like, to you maybe, but not to anyone, not to the person who wrote the document, and not to the person they were writing it to read. Like the intelligence community or the DOD or whatever, like they just don't get it. They want to argue layman's terms. And I'm like, these aren't laymen,
Right.
these are, you got to apply context. But so it's really hard to prove anything to people, even what you and I might think is a easily provable fact, like that the planet is round and not flat. Some people can politicize and argue that and believe it.
I've seen a lot of pictures of the Earth being round, whether they're CGI or whatever, but I've never seen a flat Earth picture. I wonder what it is. Where's the picture of the flat Earth?
There's camera. There's no camera that can get up above, that altitude needed to get it. I don't know. And you know how I know that the Earth isn't flat is because my producer, wherever he is, he would have knocked everything off this damn planet a long time ago. And all the cats that are on this planet, they would have just batted it right off. There'd be nothing left. The water would fall off. The trees would fall off. I would fall off because my nickname is Butterboots. All right. I wouldn't be here if it was flat. I would have already teetered up to the edge and been like, oh, what's over there? Whee! And been gone. It just
butter boots.
Rich, you just made a very interesting point though, because you just said, yeah, you said, it's not flat because there's no pictures of a flat Earth.
Right.
But why would there be a picture of a flat Earth if they want you to believe it's round?
No, I mean, there's not even one person never even got a picture up in an airplane saying, "Look, you can see the edges." There's none of that.
But an airplane won't go that high.
Even if it doesn't, you would think somebody would have even faked it. There's not even a fake one.
There's no picture of the wall.
And also, if the Earth is oblate and it looks like a pear, why are all the pictures round? It's a perfect circle. It better have this little, curvature. Or thinner at the top and get wider at the bottom. It's oblate, as Neil deGrasse Asshole says.
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Hole Tyson.
You don't like him?
Not anymore. He's just very annoying. And now all he's trying to do is make a joke with every comment. He's gotten old. He's worn out his welcome. He's flip-flopped too many times.
It comes across as condescending to me, man, when he just he just acts like his views are right and you're like an arrogant child for thinking anything else, and I don't need that. There's too many people already in ufology like that. We don't need him.
Hey, I'm right here. No,
yeah, what? Hey.
Hey, you. But it's true. You're right. He's condescending, and he thinks he's right all the time.
Yeah, like that Stan Friedman interview. You watch how someone deals with people like that with class and style, man, and it's not lowering yourself to their level. It's just sticking to your guns and being professional,
Do you think when it comes to this subject that there is that one side is right when it comes to ufology? Do you think it's a mixture of correct opinions? And so let me explain that properly. So say, for example, my side of ufology, when I talk about the nonsense and then I ask all the questions about the paranormal, but then there's the side that's full of the science, and they're talking about the alien scientists of this world, where they're looking for the actual how these things work. Do you think that the mix of this subject, when it comes to conspiracies, when it comes to people talking about the technology, do you think that will ever just gel, or it will always be split and there'll always be arguments in the field? Because I can't remember arguments in ufology, say 8 years ago. I can just remember that people were either into ufology and they were all on one team, and there was no politics to it. There was nothing.
It's been this, the way it is now is the way it's been the whole time.
Maybe I was just
It's-
never into it that much then, because I
It
can't ever
hasn't
remember
changed.
I can't remember this drama.
Oh my
Yeah,
God! This right now is nothing compared to what happened in like 2006 and 7 for me and for ufology. Yeah, I mean, it was getting bad. Everybody was being called out. I mean,
Come on,
whistleblowers.
explain.
I am, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, a lot of things didn't go well for people that once brought stories to the forefront were now being. It's the same thing we're going through now with Dolan's old man whistleblower, and Wilcock was very powerful and strong back then, and Corey Good. And that stuff was kind of still new. David Icke was around. We talked about him before. So this is nothing new. It's just new way of talking about it. It's just
I'm not talking
stuff.
about the people behind it, Rich. I'm talking about the population.
What do you mean? The drama with the public?
The public with this, the people that watch our shows, the people that are on Twitter. There seems to be a very argumentative split. When I remember before going onto forums, and it was just all very nicey people just having a chat, talking about aliens, and people just didn't seem to just argue about. When I first got into it about 8 years ago.
Was it Aliens the Truth? Was it Above Top Secret?
I can't remember. I used to go on a few different platforms.
Yeah,
and everybody seemed to be nice.
But they weren't. I don't remember anybody being nice. There was always fighting going on, really bad, with the community and the people and strangers. It's always been this way. And that's but now we have YouTube where you and I can be seen and describe what we're talking about. Before, we had Blog Talk Radio, and Spreaker, I think, was just coming out. We didn't have a big forum where we could talk and see people. Now that we put a face with everything, it's more personal. I think. I don't know. Unless I don't understand what you're saying, ufology hasn't really changed that much, other than YouTube giving us this type of, and StreamYard and Zoom and all those.
By the way, your background, Rich, that's what I want to see. That is what I want to see.
Yeah, I know, right? Mm-hmm. I couldn't believe I didn't have it up.
That's what we all want to see, man. Like you said, just lock a GoPro onto one of these things and just record it from takeoff to splashdown and let us see the whole thing. I agree. It shouldn't be that hard.
Ollie, did I answer or make sense? Is that what you're trying to explain?
Well, maybe I've not. I wasn't into it that much.
Maybe
I thought
not.
I was. Maybe, but
yeah, we all have our different perspectives. Like Ollie's got his, Rich has got his based upon his experience, and me and mine. And I was going to say, I noticed something. Somebody said something in the chat. It was Mind Blown Lovers UAP says it blew up when Lou came out, and I tend to agree with that. I saw a lot more polarization in the field, not when TTSA first came out, but when Tom DeLonge split and Lou really came out to UFO Twitter and pushed it hard with Corbell and George Knapp. That's when I saw the polarization really take off. We used to argue about if something was a CGI or not, Bob Lazar was legit or not, but it wasn't fisticuff fights. It wasn't serious, and it didn't get into the realm of personal attacks. Not so often. Sometimes it would, but it wasn't the norm, right? I mean, and nowadays it is.
It was.
Well, yeah, for Rich it was, but for me it wasn't. And I think that's what Ollie was saying is I didn't see a lot of that either. But I wasn't around back in the same areas that you were. I was looking at different things, and I have my own perspective based upon my experiences. That's all I'm talking about.
Well, I think because you guys got involved, I was already in it for almost a decade, and then Twitter and all the social media got really violent. Yeah, so I could see that part of it. And especially when Lou came and he brought those 3 videos with him and all the A-tip things, and man alive, and it got bad. I admit, but that has been happening forever.
Where's your head with Lou, Manny?
Yeah,
with who?
I'm curious. With Lou Elizondo. Yeah.
I don't trust him at all. I think the guy's a lying plant. I think he's either working for the defense industry. The only thing I'm trying to nail down is whether it's under the umbrella of the Central Intelligence Agency or if he's off the reservation and doing it rogue, which I tend to think it's probably approved. Otherwise, he would have gotten gutted by now. They would have just mashed him like the little ant that he is. But I just read an article this morning, actually, that kind of explained a little bit about it too. And they were talking about how when Trump was in office, how he had done some cleaning of house of certain people who had been there, certain groups at the Pentagon who had been there for so long, and that there was two different factions inside the Pentagon, one that wanted disclosure and the other that did not. And I can only assume that one's the defense industry and one's not. That the defense industry wants it so they can export it, make money off it. They want to declassify all this stuff that they've been, that they've already made. They want to profit. That's their job. Is this true? It was just an opinion ed piece. Of course, it's not truth. It's an opinion, but it made sense to me, and I tend to agree with it. It does seem like there's two factions there, and that one of them has been getting the upper hand lately. And that might not be the one that's looking out for the world's best interest. They might be looking out for a select group's best interest. And that's not what we want here. We want the world to be looked out for with this. This should be technology and an event that helps and changes everybody, not just the rich. I guess we'll see.
Were you into TTSA when it first came out?
Was I into them?
Yeah, were you intrigued by it? And
if you go watch the videos that I put out when they first came out, I was along the lines that they were all full of shit, and I have been since day one. And I'm just going to say it bluntly.
Well, you would if you hadn't.
Oh, you got frozen the wrong time or the right time.
Did you expect Manny to say that about Lou?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. He's not a big fan of Lou's, but I wanted to hear him say it maybe a little more detailed like he did. So I guess in a way, yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I've got a project in the works on that subject that will explain everything. That's why I don't want to talk too much about it. I just kind of want to get it out there. But if you're interested behind the scenes, you can talk to me about it, and we'll.
Are you pulling a Lou Elizondo and holding back information for?
Oh yeah, I can't tell you. That would be against my non-disclosure agreement.
I know, right?
Sorry.
Everything Lou says. Oh, I can't. Took an oath.
Yeah.
He's such a shyster.
So did a third of this country took that same oath, but they don't use it to hide shit from people. So.
But I'm sorry if Lou is full of shit, there's something very sinister about that.
Truly.
There's something very sinister that your country's doing.
Truly.
Oh.
Not just to its own citizens, but to the world. Because
I don't think it's one man. I don't think it's his
agenda.
No, it's not him. No, that's why I say the defense industry and other people. He's just not. Lou's not a brain, man. He ain't a thinker. He's not creative. He's a doer. He's a grunt, man. And he has no compunction about.
Man. Yeah.
Yep. And that's why he's good at what he did, is because he has no problems just, beating on a guy who's in handcuffs because he's poor. I'm sorry, to get the intel that he needs. I'm sorry. I don't know if he did that. I'm just saying, it's a possibility, he has no scruples, man. And he would lie to his father just like he would lie to you and me, I don't know.
Well, now
so you're convinced of that.
Well, until otherwise, yeah. But I've got the documents, man, and I don't look at Lou at what he says. I cannot trust anything the man says. I want to see proof. I need documents. I'm taking a hardcore Stan Friedman approach when it comes to Lou Elizondo. If it's not verified in a document, it is not real. It does not exist, and it is hearsay. That's it. And I don't know why the rest of the world gave him a pass, but they apparently have. Ufology just gave him a blank check to doty his way into the fucking ranks.
Isn't that weird? Weird, yeah.
I think it's FOMO, Rich, man. All these big channels just did not want to miss out, man. They did not want to be the guys who didn't get Lou because they were too skeptical. It's straight up, it's FOMO, man. That at least on Twitter and on the live streams and whatnot, But they bought his way into mainstream. Anyone can do that, you just got to have the bank, It doesn't. And some of the outlets that he chose, Leslie Kean, George Knapp, even Fox News, like those people push that agenda anyways, because I suspect that they're all funded by the same people that, that own the defense industry and all that anyways. It's not the only agenda that they push, but that's why those agencies, I think, are the only ones who report. Like, where do we get UFOs before 2 years ago besides Fox News? Nobody talked about it. Nobody talked about it in the mainstream except for Fox News here in the States.
It's always been Fox, yeah.
Right. And then CNN started picking up on it a little bit. The Washington Post with Leslie Kean. And, yeah. Are those people plants? I mean, come on, man. Do we know they're in the right place at the right time?
Try being in the UK trying to get news about UFOs.
Right. That's why you guys got to get it from us. Yeah. They don't want you to know.
We get it from you. We get it from you.
Wow, that's
I've heard
terrible.
Australia is the same way too. There's a lot of countries that are the same way. They just don't get squat, and they have to come to us because we do have the Freedom of Information Act.
It's like
Yeah,
it's like you guys have the, you know, you narrate it for the rest of the world. You control it. There's a good idea for a show for you, Rich. But
ooh, that's
I know.
narrate or dictate. I think dictate.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
dude, America dictates it to the rest of the world.
I gotta
UFOlogy.
write that down. That's
Yeah.
a good title. Narrate or dictate. Okay.
This is true, because, you know, whenever I used to research this subject, which I don't anymore, because I'm fed up of it. I'm more interested in the voices behind the subject than I am in the papers behind the subject, if that makes sense. But whenever I did before, it would always lead me to either an American news article, or, you know, somebody that was on a American TV program talking about aliens, ancient aliens. You know, it's always been that way. It seems to be you guys that have been in charge of. You've been king of ufology as the Americans. And
Can't
I
trust us.
I thank you for that.
No, you're entirely right that you can't trust us. And the reason being is because our government treats its civilians, like me and Rich, like we are Russian citizens or Chinese citizens or whatever. And they will not tell us anything that they wouldn't put out to the whole world. And so we don't truly get the freedom of information. They run through everything through a filter and say, if it's fitting for the US public, then it's fitting for the rest of the world.
I don't understand, excuse me, what the big deal was about Lou Elizondo. I still can't get over it. And why we gave Jeremy Corbell a pass with each shitty video that he kept putting out there is beyond me. That's got to be a script or some narrative that is definitely being pushed. That it is so silly what happened this last year. It's very laughable to me. I just hate it.
Does it feel like you're in another reality at some point? You know,
It
like
does.
a Mandela effect type thing?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I made a joke about that. I was like, did I wake up in another reality where ufology just takes, you know, ex-spies words or, you know, their words at face value without requiring any evidence? You know, because I always felt that it was the opposite, you know, especially with those types of people that come from the intelligence community. You have to triple vet everything that they say, you know. But, you know, I don't know. And I have to think, you know, like, Corbell's he is kind of a charismatic guy, you know, like he has something going for him. Elizondo is too on the stage when he's presenting his stuff, but they have some very common tactics, which is critical thinking errors, circling back to arguments. And I keep referencing that video that I watched, you know, the other day about Corbell and Friedman. And, you know, when you see that, you'll understand what I'm talking about here.
It's just ready, yeah.
Oh yeah. Or maybe we should can we play some of it and let people know? Is it relevant? Or, you know, like it's good, but there's a psychology there. You know what I'm saying, Rich? That's where I was going with it. They use it. And Corbell at the end of that interview really did lose the debate with Friedman, but he went away fist bumping with the audience and calling it a win. You know, and it's, you know, he would sit there and say, oh, it's all about Bob Lazar's facts and his truth and not about feelings or liking the guy. But every time that he got a chance, he would get the crowd and be like, oh, Bob's such a sweet guy. He's this goofy scientist who's just eclectic and eccentric. And he's got all these, you know, these cool government contracts. And he's just so cool. But it's not about feelings. It's about facts, of which he couldn't state any, you know, and Friedman just ripped him apart, you know. But I'm just saying Corbell is charismatic, but he just does that. He goes in this little circle and he'll shun away anybody who disagrees with him and just keep the people around him who like his story and are like, yeah, let's do this, you know. Same thing as Tom DeLonge did, and the same damn thing that Lou Elizondo does. Surround himself with yes men.
Yeah.
You don't believe Bob Lazar, then, money?
You know, my personal relationship with Bob Lazar is like my first high school romance, man. We love each other and hate each other every 2 weeks over the years. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm currently on the page that Bob's science doesn't work out. The alien scientist did a great job debunking him as far as that's concerned. But my gut tells me when I look at Bob is that he's telling the truth, that he's not actively lying. So I'm trying to rationalize or figure out, is my gut lying to me? Is my head not? I tend to think maybe it was something along the lines that he was out there. He did see some technology and do something, but it might have been part of a misinformation campaign. They may have shown him something to see where it ended up, or hoping that it got out. Like the WikiLeaks moon base, where Russia destroyed a secret U.S. moon base in the 60s. Never happened. It was complete misinformation, but they reported on it in Russia to see where it ended up on the U.S. intelligence desk, or vice versa. You know what I mean? It's spy games.
And Lazar's also said he's had attempts on his life, and they don't make mistakes. They're going to take you out. You're done.
Yeah. That's what I've never got.
That's the type of people that he's talking about. I believe you, Rich. If they wanted to, they would. And nowadays, more so easier than ever. I mean, they could hijack a self-driving car and wreck it. You could they could hack into your, smart stove and turn the gas on when you're not asleep or something. I mean, there's so many different ways that it could happen, So yeah, I tend to think that. But again, my gut just tells me, and that's hard. I'm really good at reading people, and my gut tells me that that Bob is being sincere when he says his story, it always has. I've never gotten the vibe that he's a liar. So I have a hard time reconciling that, I really do. But the science doesn't make sense. And
you have to go back to his very first interviews. Don't look at the recent ones. Just look at the ones in the early days, and you'll see a difference, very slight difference from then to now. The guy's very good at what he's saying. If he's lying about it, it's hard to see. So you're right.
You're dying to do your impression.
Huh?
You're dying to do your impression of Bob Lazar.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking of it, I promise. Because my voice isn't working today.
Oh, I love it, Rich. I love it.
It's not good. It's perfect. It's not. Manny froze. No, Manny goes.
I am getting a new Wi-Fi card today. I'm telling you guys, right after this show, I'm going to go get a new Wi-Fi card.
Wait, you're using Wi-Fi for this?
Yeah, I have to. I don't have a recorded setup. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So here's the thing. I never thought that I'd find myself questioning the Travis Walton case until this year.
Right.
And now it's like 7 people. 7 was it? It was 7, wasn't it, including Travis?
5 and 2, yeah.
How is that? How is this a thing? But Bob's one person, We've only got the people that speak about what he did, what he could make. The guy was a genius. The guy faked his credentials. It's one guy's word we've got for it. But Travis, this was 7 people. And one person now, Mike, is saying that it's all horseshit.
Yeah. Why would he do that? Well, they had money issues, right? So Mike Rogers comes out and tells how it happened. And it made sense how it happened.
It did make sense. But
Mike Rogers and Travis Walton were the UFO clowns of their neighborhood. So anytime they said something about UFOs, what they did, they pumped up the team probably weeks before, saying, we've seen some lights over here. And they're like, yeah, whatever. I don't know if that's
chum in the water.
Yeah, exactly. And when they were going home after work that day, they could have taken a different route. And those guys were so tired, they didn't notice the difference. It's all trees left and right. So when they took the different route home, and the light came out of that tower, which was hidden, the legs were hidden from that side of the road, which was yards away and at a lower level, I could see it. I could see them pulling it off. But it would have had to have been perfect and a one-time take, and it did, and it worked. And then let's remember, Travis failed the first and last, those lie detector tests. So he did fail it the first time he took it. And the one for the $1 million. He wasn't dehydrated after 5 days. He was perfect health.
It was Philip Klass that was investigating as well, wasn't it? But he's named as, like I said, I'm no ufologist, but isn't he like one of the classic, he was the bad guy of ufology?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
He's the better version of me. Yeah. It's a better version. So yeah, that's him. He didn't believe the story, and he was right. It's weird.
Wasn't there
Well,
that audio recording that came out too, where they were talking about that? Where was that the same case where they were sitting in the truck talking about hoaxing it? And didn't
I've
you hear
not
that?
heard that.
There wasn't a recording.
A real audio recording, like on a dictaphone.
Yeah, it was. I think it was something that somebody recorded on their phone. It was a conversation that they had, where he was talking about hoaxing it. Not Travis. I don't think it was.
Mike Rogers.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I think he's talking about Ryan. That was on my
Yeah,
show
Ryan
and
Gable.
your show as well.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the guy. They were doing a video together or a movie or something, and he had caught something on a hot mic or on his camp or on his phone or something like that, where they were talking about it. And but it sounded interesting. I didn't really pay much attention to it because it wasn't my thing. I was like, whatever. That could be a guy, saying something 30 years later because he feels jaded or whatever. But you never know. I mean, if it's from his own mouth. How do you refute that later?
Isn't it weird though how much it sticks whenever anybody's had these big experiences? If something wants to stick, it will. A bit like so you get Betty and Barney Hill, but now is it the niece? What's her name?
Mm-hmm.
What's her name, Rich?
I don't know the niece's name. I can't remember.
You know what I mean, though, don't you?
Of course.
She's now like she does this for a living. She spoke to John for a start. What's her name now? I can't remember her name off the back of my head. But it sticks. The Bob Lazars, the Travis Walton, Barney Hill, and Betty, and his niece that is in the field working. I think she was working quite close with Stanton Friedman at one point. It's odd. Just odd.
Odd that it's not real? That we're finding out chinks in the armor? Or is it just decades and decades of trying to find something, anything? Look, Mike Rogers came out and said we hoaxed it. And it told in detail, which makes sense. I don't see how that's not fake. You don't say that if it's not true. That doesn't make sense to me. And what he said wasn't just, yeah, we faked it. He gave details. Very good details on it. And it made sense with the timeline and everything. And I know you'd be like, well, how could they mistake a light tower for a UFO? That was foggy.
Yep, at night depending, he may have put something over it. They may have even gone to the extreme to put a huge sheet over it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're hyping it up too, and you're like, "Hey guys, what the hell is that?" If you've got like a plant in the field, you can.
That's why Travis got out of the car and ran up to it. If anybody would have followed him, it wouldn't have worked because they all had to drive away so Travis can go hide up in the light tower. So when they went back to the location, Mike didn't take them back to the same location. They took them to a location that they normally would go down. And it looked very similar to the location where they faked it, but it wasn't even close. At night, you can't see anything. All the trees look the same, a little alcove, little cutouts in the road. Cars pull over and make a clearing. It's very, very diabolical.
You think about that back then as well. You think about that. What was it in the 1970s?
70s, yeah.
Yeah, you think about that, and you think about some of the films that were on TV back then. I think The Thing might have been on there. The first when was the first Alien film? Was it 1970? That was like
1977.
Yeah, that might have been already out. I don't know.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, so you think about the Alien films, you think about Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and all these. When did that come out, Rich?
77.
Okay, there you go. So that was out as well. So these people had watched all these films, and you're just a passenger in the back, and you just in the fog you see this big bright object, and you're having like the two people in the front, Mike and Travis, they're going, holy shit, like that, and then Travis runs out. The others might be just like deers in fog light, you know, deers in what they call it, deers a deer in
Deer in the headlight.
Yeah, they may have been just like that.
But
Like,
I don't mean to interrupt, but I have to, because Close Encounters came out 2 years after Travis Walton.
okay, fair enough.
75 was Walton, 77 was Close Encounters.
But anyway, there was
But it
loads
makes
of
it
alien stuff. There were
There was
loads
a
of
ton of
alien.
it. Yeah.
Ton of it, yeah. You know, and
Plus, there were abduction stories already. Betty and Barney Hill, the Kecksburg case, you know. Lots of stuff already out there. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Shh, I'll be quiet.
No. But apparently, Travis was really into the Betty and Barney Hill case. Really into it. Massively into the subject of UFOs. And if you're going to fake it, why would an alien pick somebody just because they're into UFOs? It wouldn't give a shit.
Doesn't seem like they'd even know. How would they know? You know.
That's funny. That's true.
Yeah.
It wouldn't give a shit, would it? It would not give a shit if you're into ufology or not. You could be into building Lego, you know, as a hobby. People, the aliens will not pick. Oh, well, this person really is interested in aliens. Let's visit them. It's not going to happen. It is odd and it's disappointing. I'm disappointed with that because it's kind of like it's hit a little bit the nerve. Because now I'm like, Travis, did you lie all this time? I really hope he didn't. I hope.
I think he did. I've always thought he looked like he was lying. I mean, he talks calmly, but there's just something wrong with the way I think he talks. When I watch him, something's off.
Joe Rogan believed him by the looks of the interview.
I gave him the benefit of the doubt too, because of the lie detector test that I didn't know there was a failed one before, and the game show happened later. But yeah, it was the other witnesses that passed the lie detector test. But then you find out years later they really didn't even ask him about aliens in the lie detector test, and there was only 4 questions. You'd think these lie detector tests are like 20, 30 minutes. Getting the baseline takes longer than the questions. So,
I remember seeing that game show lie detector test. I think you sent me actually. I think you sent me.
Yeah, I did.
A few years back.
Somebody sent it to me.
And I actually thought they rigged that.
I know, I did too.
The bastards.
But they didn't, did they?
Well, it's a game show. They don't have to be legit, right? It's like going on Maury Povich, you know? The lie detector determined that was the truth.
Right. You are an abduction.
You are an abductee.
No, but the thing is, Ollie, they asked him that question 3 different ways, and he failed it every time.
What, on the game show?
Yeah, but they didn't show it live. They talked about it afterwards, and he says, and just for those of you who think that, you know, he didn't pass it, I think something happened where there was like some discussion afterwards because he made a big stink about it. Like, there's no way I lied. And then I think he came out later after commercial break and said, we actually asked 3 different times just in case. You get a yes, a no, and a maybe. Then you have something that's, you know, undetermined.
After Mike coming out about this, has Travis been going on any other shows?
He did go on one show. I think he went back on Jimmy Church.
Right.
I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. I think Jimmy was like really had Travis's...
I think he was at the Disclosure Con too. I think Alien Girl did an interview with him, or at least talked to him a little bit. So he's still around. He's not like in hiding or anything, I don't think.
He went to... Oh, yeah, he was at Disclosure Con.
What about Mike? Is
Mike Rogers?
Is he going? Is he still speaking about this? Because it seems that he's only spoke about it kind of once or twice.
They made up, and he said, "All right, we didn't fake it." True story.
He did actually recant his confession or whatever after and that's I think why I was having a hard time with it in the first place. I was like, why? I don't know though. Where do you go with that now? What do you believe?
You know why I believe it? Because the way he explained it made sense. If he just said we faked it and didn't give any evidence or any way of how they could have faked it, I wouldn't have believed him. But he gave details, man.
It was pretty
Yeah, it sounded convincing. Like I remember hearing it too, how he was talking about it, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of detail to have made up and to just say, hey, we faked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was convincing. But then he recanted it though, like you said, when he made it with Travis. So it's like, what do you do, man?
Too bad, so sad. The truth came out. Now I don't believe Travis.
I can't ring the bell.
Because of all the evidence that looks like he wasn't abducted. He wasn't dehydrated. No cuts and bruises on his body as if he was surviving out in the wild. It's just silly. And the way they explained that he stayed up in that lighthouse for the 5 days makes sense to me. And Mike took them away during the when they were searching for Travis. Said, no, he's not over there. That's why they never searched over there. Because Mike told them we weren't even near the lighthouse. So they never searched that area. That's why they never found him in there. Ollie.
Okay, so we're talking about what we don't believe here.
No, we're talking about truth. What was said.
But what do we believe? I'm not talking about the Travis case. I'm talking about in this field. What do you believe? This question's for both of you, Manny and Rich.
First.
What do I believe? I believe that some of our UFOs that are out there have to be extraterrestrial in origin. Some of them are probably top secret man-made objects, and some of them are probably natural phenomenon. I do believe that our planet is probably being visited by human life or alien life, and has been for probably quite some time. And we might even, there might be something to the secret, plan to disclose over a period of time of say 100 years or something like that. That we're witnessing. I believe that the government's not going to give us the truth.
Rewind there.
Mm-hmm.
So you believe over 100 years? When did that start?
That's just a number that I picked because it sounds like something that at the end of, say, World War II, the politicians, the Churchill types, and them would have all said, 100 years will be more than enough time to disclose to our people what we need. And so if that was the case, you're probably talking the end of the war. So 47 or, right around there is when that would have happened. But it's just a number that I came up with because it sounds like something that the politicians of those times would have said. Why not 100 years? Because then that would have been 1,000 years. But as we know, 100 years, the last 100 years, things have been moving rapidly, very rapidly. In the last 30, they've been moving even faster. So I don't think they really knew what they were doing with that one. But who knows? I guess we'll see if in 2047 they disclose. I guess I was right.
Well, that would be more than 100 years, wouldn't it?
From 1947 to 2047.
Oh, 19, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But yeah, maybe it's coming sooner. Maybe they're ready to do it now because of some reason. I don't know. I like that theory. I think it jibes also with the reason that we haven't nuked ourselves since we've had nukes. I find it hard to believe that man could just keep his finger off the button for all that time. I think that at least one politician would have gotten a itchy trigger finger in 80 years and launched another one. But, maybe the aliens won't let us. Maybe they're like, you can't do that. You're going to have to figure out some other way. Maybe you need to get along. Just my 2 cents, all opinion based on big picture and everything that I've looked at.
So you think aliens may have stopped some nuclear, may have started and stopped those nuclear tests way back when? And shut them down. You think that happened?
He's
frozen in a very good position though.
Yeah,
it's
no
a nice
blur.
Concentration face.
Looks
Yeah,
like
no
it's
blur.
still
And
moving.
good screenshot.
Yeah, I'd save that.
I have.
I don't know about those UFOs turning on or turning off, turning on, launching, stopping the launch. If that really happened, or if it had to. If you go by the witnesses' statements, then it happened. They would have to be lying or covering up their own mistakes and saying it was UFOs, but there were UFOs. Everybody saw them on the base a couple of times. So maybe they did, start the launch sequence and then stop it. That would make sense because that goes back to those, is it the Whitehall kids? They had telepathic messages sent to them when the aliens showed up and saying you're killing your world with technology. I'm paraphrasing, but that was the message they received. Those who were able to receive the messages from the aliens telepathically, and teachers too. Your technology is going to be the demise of your planet. Not you, but the planet's going to... That's a pretty strong statement.
Which
It's
kids were
almost
these?
the Whitehall
Was
from
it-
1966, and I think it was where? Anybody know? I can't remember right now.
Is this the kids that are on the interviews?
No, that's the 75 one.
Right,
This is
okay.
From Zimbabwe, I believe. I can't remember where the Whitehall... That
So
was
the
66 and 75.
So the message is that we're killing our planet with technology, but they...
But I was saying that sounds like something man would say. So maybe it was us from another dimension or future coming back to tell us. And why did they choose children? Well, it wasn't just children. It was also some teachers. They were just there. They just happened to be there. So they got the message out. They landed or appeared in that area. Maybe they couldn't go anywhere else. They appeared there, gave the message, and went back into the future. Maybe they only had a window of 30 seconds, 2 minutes, or whatever it was.
And in terms of like abductions, do you think that's going on, or do you think that's more part of the conspiracy?
I really don't know. It's like Bigfoot abductions. There's just enough evidence to keep you satisfied, but nothing provable.
Apart from people telling you. And people
Yeah,
that-
and being as sincere as they can now. You know, I know it wasn't a bear. I just watched a documentary. It was called Chimpanzee. And then I watched another one about the king of the Amazon. It was about a silverback, two silverback groups. And they had the conical shaped head, like a Bigfoot. I was astounded at what I saw. I said, oh my God, that looks like Bigfoot walking. They walk around on two legs. You know, and then they'd go walking around, you know, and it was so funny. I'm like, look at the head. It was amazing. So maybe they're, but I know silverbacks aren't in, you know, Washington. They're in the Amazon jungles over there.
Have you ever heard of the children being taken by they depict something like a teddy bear or a cartoon character. It was briefly shown in the film Taken, the TV series Taken, where a squirrel takes a child.
Oh yeah, not a squirrel. It was a little monkey.
No, it was a squirrel. It was.
No, it was a monkey.
It was a squirrel.
And it dragged the girl by one arm.
You're thinking no. You're thinking it must be something different. That Rich.
Okay.
It's when I say it abducts the child.
Yeah.
In a spaceship, and it appears to the child as a squirrel.
Gotcha.
Well, I was at the gym with my my buddy the other day, and I was talking about having strange hallucinations, and I said I once had one when I was a kid when I was really poorly. I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was all these red dots all over my bedroom, just flying around the room. And he said to me, I once saw the Easter Bunny. And I went, what? He said, I once saw the Easter Bunny, and it was just right outside my door. Now, and that made me think about these kids that have had this. So I showed him the clip. He's not even into UFOs.
Yeah.
At all. And I said, this... And he's like looking, and you could see in his eyes that he's like a little bit weirded out by what I'm showing him of this squirrel taking this child into this tree, and then the tree turns into a flying saucer and takes off. And he said he saw the Easter Bunny for real. Actually saw in like a huge Easter Bunny, huge a man-sized fucking bunny. But he said it wasn't a dream. It was like
how old was he?
He was a kid. I don't know how old.
Okay, couldn't it have been his dad or mom wearing a suit coming in just to mess around with him?
maybe his dad and his mum liked to dress up as bunnies when he went to bed. I don't know. I have no idea.
Because it's not that cheap just to rent an outfit for that. Just to scare your kid. It doesn't make sense.
Well, he said it looked like a real bunny.
Yeah,
Just a man-sized bunny.
Well, that's just dreaming.
But it made me think of that. You know, maybe these creatures can disguise themselves as anything they want.
Hell yeah, they can, man. Absolutely.
That's scary.
I know.
I could be talking to an alien right now. Manny?
I'm just joking.
that was a good pause, Rich.
Yeah, it's years of practice. Hiding from aliens, you don't want to, you don't want them to hear you breathing.
We don't hear much about the I'm going to say camels then, the cows. We don't hear you don't see.
Yeah,
it was a big thing, and now we don't hear much about the mutilations of animals. Every now and again we hear something, but it's not as rife as it was.
Because it's not new anymore. It used to be new and exciting. Now it's just like, oh, the government's doing it. Okay, well, the evidence never changes. It's the perfect evidence.
Why would the government do that? Why would the government?
The government's helping the aliens abduct cows. Because they have to go over people's property, so they probably know more about the terrain and understanding if.
Why chop them up like that?
They're not really chopping them up, though. They're surgically removing eyeballs, lips, and a-holes. Lips, shits, assholes.
Why? What could they possibly want with a cow's asshole?
Well, that's like going to the Nazca Lines. The Nazca Lines has all of Earth's resources pretty much in that area. At least 90% of. You could learn a lot about the Earth at Nazca. Not just because of the lines. I'm just saying because of what's out there. So that's like the a-hole. It shows everything you ate. It's got blood vessels in there, and it's a muscle, and it's a digestive system. It's a very important part of everything, all living. That's why anal probes were so popular. That has to be done. That's why we get the finger, that as well.
I've never see.
Me neither.
I can't see why a species that are way, way, way more advanced than us would come here to take out a cow's arsehole.
They're taking them out of chickens too. Chickens and other animals. We just don't hear about it because they're not owned by anybody. You know what I mean? Like
apparently they do it to us.
Yeah. Oh, there have been human mutilations for sure.
Cattle mutilations are prevalent up here in the Northwest and have been for quite some time. And in Prineville last year, there was some more. And then this last summer, I think there was 3 or 4, full-size bulls that were bled out, had their eyes and tongue removed and parts of the genitalia, I think, but with laser precision and surgical cauterization. So it's like it's a real mystery. And in fact, the local sheriff out there in southeastern Oregon has been investigating this for some years. He's got an active case on it. And I think Cowbell's coming up here to do a documentary on it. It's kind of disappointing, but whatever. At least somebody's talking about it. I might drive down there myself and talk to the guy and see if he'll speak to me about it. And but it is interesting. I mean, you're talking these massive bulls that are bled out, not a drop of blood or anything, and we barely talk about that. But if we found a human corpse in that condition, you bet it'd be global news. You know what I mean? Everyone would be talking about it. So maybe they're not. Maybe that's why they're not doing that on humans anymore. They're going to cows and stuff, is because people freak attention out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's them, or do you think that's your government?
Well, the cattle mutilations and stuff are a global phenomenon, so it can't really be our government unless they probably started it
way back. I don't think we have them now. I've not heard.
Oh yeah, I just read about a report over in the UK not too long ago about some sheep. There was a farmer who had some sheep that happened to, the same sort of thing.
I need to find that where that farm is. I need to visit it and do an interview.
I might have talked about it in my cattle mutilation video. I'll check my links after the show, and if I have that link for that particular case, I'll send it to you. But there was a case.
Manny, why do you think they do it?
A number of reasons. Maybe if you're studying it, like the tongue makes sense if you want to figure out how to eat here, and that's something that I've always thought about. If we go to another planet, we're not necessarily going to be able to eat the vegetation there because we didn't grow there. But if we can eat pretty much, a lot of the stuff that's on this planet because of the digestive system, and that's all the bacteria that's created in our tongues, and all of that stuff. So that makes sense. If you were trying to study how to survive on a planet, you would want to know that, how to eat the local vegetation, right? And meats or whatever. So I think that's my personal opinion about why they're doing it is to understand how to either survive here or to use that information elsewhere. But
it's not only that, but they also get to see how the earth is being digested inside of them as well, all that stuff. I'm sure there's radiation from them being under the ground as well, and maybe I heard that they're hiding things under some of these places that the nuclear whatever, the energy can go upward and out, and they want to see if there's anything that's harming these animals as well, maybe giving them cancer and all that stuff. How them being here hiding underground maybe leaks upward. I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's been going on forever. But, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the cattle mutilations started up here, I think in the 40s were some of the first ones that they really documented in the Northwest, and that's of course right around the same time as the UFO phenomenon was taking off as well here in the States. So is there a link to that? Probably,
I tell you what, there is a link to the 33rd parallel. And that if you go along that, I can't remember his name. I think it's Rakowski, an ex-cop. Bob Wachowski, maybe. I can't remember his last name. But the 33rd parallels where I think 85 to 90% of the cattle mutilations happen.
Oh, wow. That is interesting. So that does suggest like an orbiting ship or something that's running that line that's picking all them up. Yeah. That could totally be. I've never seen that. I'd like to look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Along that.
Yeah, type it in. 33rd parallel cattle mutilations. You'll find it. And it's called the UFO highway. Unofficially, yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Like we've got the asteroid highway where a lot of the meteorites hit because they're along the plane of the Earth that's rotating along that, the Oort cloud and the asteroid belts and stuff like that, which runs like through Siberia and stuff, which is like why Russia got hit by Chelyabinsk and all those other, they get hit frequently. But yeah, so that makes sense. You could see a line around the planet where a ship could be orbiting. If they were orbiting that same time, that would make sense that everything was along that line if they were just beaming things up, or flying straight down and taking them.
But the 33rd parallel is also very prominent if you look at all of the planets. The 33rd parallel is also where that big storm is on Jupiter, and also the big storm that's on Uranus. Saturn, I think, has something to do with it too. The 33rd parallel is very, I don't know, man, universal. It's weird. There's something about the 33rd parallel. But Ollie, I got to get going, man.
Oh, you got a show, mate?
Yeah, we've been on a little longer than normal, but it just flew by.
When's your show?
Oh, it's in an hour and 45 minutes. But I haven't gotten it ready yet.
What's it about?
Tonight's show, I am going to be talking about why do you believe in aliens, Bigfoot, and ghosts? And, it's almost, I can't believe you were talking about this tonight. Maybe it was just me subconsciously thinking about it, but and then I say, what's wrong with us? Why do we have to believe in this stuff without any evidence or very little? Also, I'll go over daily events and things that happen on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. The news, that's what we bring.
I've got the day off tomorrow, so I'll be able to catch up on it in the morning.
I have my 3 o'clock show tomorrow, too, for the Saturday in the UK at 3 p.m. Eastern.
I will not be here because I've got the day off, and then I am going out in Leeds drinking, and I'm going to a comedy club.
Oh, nice. No way! Cool. What's the name of the club?
I can't remember. My wife booked it.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
It is.
You can tell me later. I know you don't want people to meet you there.
I don't care.
We're going to crash it, man.
I would not, honestly, if I was in the club and people went, alien addict,
Dude.
I'd look at my wife and say, "See, I told you to pay off." I'm famous.
Yes, that's when you know it.
No.
Where am
That's
I
funny.
going now? I can't remember where I'm going. She's not sent it to me. I thought she sent me a ticket. She's not sent me. Somewhere in Leeds.
Cool.
But Manny, what are you doing next when you're uploading?
I've got my Alien Dance Party premiere tomorrow. That's 2 hours of original music and videos and dance hangouts and all that stuff. And we'll be doing that in the morning.
Are we going to see you? Are you going to be on the decks?
No, I don't scratch and do all that. I'm what's called a step composer or a step writer. So I'll do all my work in the DAW and do all my music, on the computer and stuff like that. But I put together some pretty good little tracks and some interesting stuff.
Oh, have you made them all yourself? Yes, he has.
He has. Yeah, I think I can lip read.
Yeah, you look like you were going to say that. But yes, Rich, thanks for coming on, my friend. And
Sure.
when you're going to do the show that America is controlling ufology?
In an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, that's going to. Have you already changed the title?
Oh, wait. Yeah, did you say something different? Are aliens controlling ufology?
No, America.
I never said that.
No, I did.
When am I going to do that show? Saturday. I'll do it tomorrow.
That needs to be done. I want to see that.
So you want to see how
you guys, you got the reins behind this.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, from earlier. We're the ones that bring the news out to the world. The ufological news.
100%.
Capiche.
100%. We wait with anticipation for America to release anything about UFOs.
So what would my focus be then for that type of show? How would I do it?
Let me think. Why is America always the ones behind ufology?
Okay. All right.
So along that lines, why are you guys always the one leading the way? I don't know.
I'll tell you why. We have to control the narrative because we have the technology. We could take ET home.
We've had it. And we've had it. That was John Lear, wasn't it?
It was, I think. I'm not sure, but somebody in the chat room.
Always you crazy Americans.
Because we've had it.
I think we do now. I think that's why they're trying to give us this narrative. It's a threat. It's not, it could be us, it couldn't be, it's not China, Russia, maybe it is, maybe it isn't China, Russia. Everything's always changing. Lou Elizondo has flip-flopped on this many times, and I don't know what to believe, and that's done purposefully.
Yeah, but his end goal is still the same. It's to get this neutered version of disclosure out, so that they can capitalize on all those patents that they released recently, and all the other ones that they have in the secret patent courts.
And Wilcox Carr.
Yeah. Doesn't that? Hey, Wilcox Carr, didn't that sound a lot like the ship that TTSA was supposed to build? Like, doesn't it seem like they just took that whole responsibility from TTSA and shifted it over to Wilcox?
No,
that wasn't
it's
a car, though. They were making a spaceship.
Yeah, they were making one that can go into space, water, and walls.
Oh, yeah. And time and fly out of my nose and all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
Wilcox just giving us a hover car.
Oh, okay.
Big
like the Avro car that they built in the 60s. That'd be cool.
Yeah. That
Yay.
wildly rotating machine. Stupidest thing I ever seen.
Oh, hell, I'd drive one if I could find it down the street, man, just for the looks.
Oh, my God, that'd be so much fun.
Put a nice bubble on top.
Well, boys, thank you for so much for joining. Go check out Richie's show tonight that starts in
an hour and 32 minutes.
And Manny, your show's premiering. Both the links are in the description below, people. Your show
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to do a live stream for an hour before it, and then the premiere is right after the live stream. We'll redirect everyone to the premiere.
Wait, what time is it? Yours tomorrow?
5 o'clock is the premiere, and then the 6 o'clock is, or 5 o'clock is a live stream, and 6 o'clock is the premiere.
5 Eastern?
5 Pacific. That'd be 8 Eastern.
Okay, perfect. I was thinking it was on the same time as mine. I was gonna get mad at myself.
No, I'm later. Yeah, it'll be 8 o'clock your time, Rich.
Oh,
This
that's
is why I'm
cool.
so glad that I'm in the UK, because I don't have to be polite to
About
you
your
guys.
scheduling times. Yeah, you can just
Yeah,
post your
'cause my-
show.
Because I can't do a show. If I did a show at 2 a.m, I'd be divorced.
I know. That's why I'm single.
Actually, we'd probably get along a lot better.
It could go either way.
Yeah, boys, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys go check out the in the description below, GUFON and Area 503 Manny
Good time.
in the description. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody in the chat tonight. The people who've put the thumbs up, the super chatters, the people who've been very kind in the comments. Whatever your contribution has been tonight, it is greatly appreciated. I'm Alien Addict. This is GUFON, Area 503. Good night, God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite. And, last but not least, because my wife tells me if I don't start making money off this channel soon, I have to stop the channel. So go check out my merch. I have a new t-shirt, which has the atomic structure of element 115 on the front of it. With 115, I can fly on the back of it. I'm quite pleased with that one, actually. Go check it out. It's in the description below. Good night, God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite. Wow. How do I end this?